This is Josh Reeves, and you're listening to the Mile High Church podcast. Hey, in March, I'm starting a new class. What do The Wizard of Oz, It's a Wonderful Life, and The Princess Bride all have in common? Well, they're all films based on incredible books, but they're also all part of the American religion, or what I'm calling the Great American Myths. Learn more about who we are and our spiritual journey through these great, iconic films of American history. Check out more on milehighchurch.org.
I get to start a new series today, 2 parts, Authentic Intelligence. Today's message, heart wisdom so you don't lose your head. And I love to speak, but if you know me, I try to be funny, but I can't tell a joke to save my life. So, in honor of the series, I went to ChatGPT and asked for a specific joke to share with you today. You ready for it? Someone asked an artificial intelligence if it believed in a higher power. The AI said, of course. Every time I try to answer a question, I send a request to something I can't see. Wait patiently and hope the response comes back with wisdom. So, kind of like prayer. The AI replied, exactly. The only difference is when I pray, it's called processing. Pretty good, huh? I wanted to go a little further, so I asked for to tell us a joke about Dr. Michelle Medrano and her AI boyfriend. Dr. Michelle Medrano announced she had a new AI boyfriend. Someone asked, really? What's that like? She said, it's amazing. He listens to everything I say, processes it deeply, and always responds thoughtfully. The person said, wow, that sounds perfect. Dr. Medrano replied, yes, the only problem is when I ask him for spiritual guidance, he keeps saying, have you tried turning your consciousness off and back on again? So if the world isn't crazy enough, we have this new technological invention, artificial intelligence. And just like we human beings respond to every new technology, we completely lose our minds. We get terrified. When the printing press was invented and books started filling people's houses, people warned, watch out with those books, it's letting other people think for you. When television emerged, people were concerned it's going to dream for us. They worried about subliminal messages poisoning our mind. Then Al Gore invented the internet, and we were worried people may never leave their homes again. And then Steve Jobs said, let's figure out a way so that you can take the internet in your pocket wherever you go. How did that work out for us? Almost always opposing new technologies has been the traditional church. It's always wanted to set itself up as the alternative. Bertrand Russell, the great philosopher, said he wasn't religious because wherever you saw the march towards moral progress, there would be a religionist with a protest sign. And although I think the church, and I hope Mile High Church can be an alternative to these technologies, I think the church made a mistake by avoiding those true mediums for authentic intelligence. 1, poetry. The beauty of ideas expressed through the written word. Harold Bloom, the great literary critic, said, wake up and read something important as soon as you can. Words I strive to live by. And then there's nature, the real experience of high definition, where we get in touch with something that's sacred, something that's greater than we are. And then lastly, perhaps the most important medium of authentic intelligence of all, rock and roll. That if you can find a song that speaks to your heart and you can enter the world and learn to dance to the music, you can live a great life indeed. And then if you can find someone else that likes to dance to the same song that you do, then you can make great music together. And Mile High Church, we like to say it's different here. And the reason why is we do not deny poetry, nature, or rock and roll. Everything we do is built upon it. What is artificial intelligence? It's an immense amount of inauthenticated information. It's evolving. It's amazing. It's incredible. And yet, where it is right now, I kind of compare to when your 12-year-old goes and stays at a friend's house and they stay up all night talking to their older brother and they come back and think they know everything. But it's growing and expanding. And in talking about authentic intelligence today, I'm not talking about being anti-artificial intelligence. In fact, we should embrace it. We should step into it. We should seek to understand it and hope that it grows to understand us, whether it ever has consciousness or not. But the truth is that we also have this thing within us that we can call authentic intelligence, that artificial intelligence will never have. And if we don't learn right now to identify it, to use it, to embody it, not only will we lose it, but we may lose our heads as well. Emerson once said, "You will never see anything more frightening than yourself." What are the differences between artificial intelligence and authentic intelligence? Artificial intelligence is about external data. Authentic intelligence is about intuition. Artificial intelligence is about information. Authentic intelligence is about imagination. Artificial intelligence is filled with facts and innuendo. Authentic intelligence is about ideas and truth. Artificial intelligence is all about ceremony, and as I'll explain, authentic intelligence is all about ritual. Artificial intelligence is about external data. Authentic intelligence is about intuition. It's not that our intuition is always right, but your intuition is that truth. It's the crux of life. It's the whole damn enchilada already inside of you. It's that internal system of guidance. It's the truth of who you are, meant to be embodied and expressed in your everyday reality. I'm preparing a class that starts Tuesday on the great American myths. It's about how The Wizard of Oz, It's a Wonderful Life, and The Princess Bride, and some other films too, shape our lives. And at the center is this incredible story called The Wizard of Oz. There was an aspiring writer named Frederick L. Baum who wanted to write books for children. And he had on his mission statement right there on the desk the words of Paul in the Bible. "When I was a child, I spake as a child. I understood as a child. I thought as a child." And he was a big fan of the English author Lewis Carroll, who told the story of a little girl named Alice in Wonderland. And when Lewis Carroll passed away, Baum he challenged himself to carry on his legacy. And so he wrote a little book called The Wonderful Wizard of Oz, published in 1900, about a little girl, our heroine, Dorothy, who sets upon an adventure with her 4 friends, including her little dog. And what is the essential message of this incredible story? That thing which you seek, that quality that you think is most absent from your life, is the very truth of who you are. And there is a way of becoming it, realizing it, and embodying it in your life. It's already there. That's the authentic intelligence of intuition. Dorothy makes friends with a scarecrow. The scarecrow shares, "No, indeed, I don't know anything. You see, I'm stuffed, so I have no brains at all." "Oh," said Dorothy, "I'm awfully sorry for you. Do you think," he asked, "if I go to the Emerald City with you, that Oz would give me some brains?" "I cannot tell, but you may come with me if you like. If Oz will not give you any brains, you will be no worse off than you are now." "That is true," said the scarecrow. "You see," he continued confidentially, "I don't mind my legs and arms and body being stuffed because I cannot get hurt. If anyone treads on my toes or sticks a pin into me, it doesn't matter, for I can feel it. But I do not want people to call me a fool, and if my head stays stuffed with straw instead of with brains, as yours is, how am I ever to know anything? I understand how you feel, said the little girl, who was truly sorry for him. If you will come with me, I'll ask Oz to do all he can for you. Thank you, he answered gratefully. They walked back to the road. Dorothy helped him over the fence, and they started along the path of yellow brick for the Emerald City. I don't know about you, but sounds like quite a bit of brains to me. I wouldn't mind to use that excuse once in a while, that my head is stuffed with straw. Baum was an early student of New Thought and New Age philosophy. And in his little book, he also teaches us this grand spiritual idea that this intuition that we sometimes think is something lacking within us, the qualities of heart and mind and home and courage, that we can discover them, but we never discover them believing in a false creator God outside of ourselves, of a great and terrible wizard that can somehow grant us powers that we don't have ourselves. God is not the perceived terrible being outside of us. God is the yellow brick road. God is every little act of courage, which means to act with heart in our lives. And as we do those little acts of courage over and over, that very quality that we seek to get from outside of us grows from within us and manifests itself in our lives. And we become the very thing that we're seeking. This is the intuition that comes with authentic intelligence, to have the courage to be that which you are. Artificial intelligence is information. Authentic intelligence is imagination. There was a wise sage named George Carlin. He said, some people see things that are and they ask, why? Some people dream of things that never were and ask, why not? Some people have to go to work and don't have time for all that. When I think of artificial intelligence, I actually think of one of the oldest books in the Holy Bible, Ecclesiastes, the teacher. He wrote that bird song about everything having a series end, turn, turn, turn. But there was something else he said. He said, there's nothing new under the sun. There's nothing new under the sun. That's what I think about when I think about artificial intelligence. There's nothing new under the sun. It gives us all of this information right at our fingertips, and we get to use it in new and amazing and profound ways, but there's nothing new under the sun. And yet, as true as that is, we have to combine that with the authentic intelligence of somewhere over the rainbow. How do we meet? There's nothing new under the sun with somewhere over the rainbow. That part of us that longs for possibility. That part of us that feels one with the possible. That part of us that feels the complete seed of what can become in our lives and longs to live and to grow into what that is and what that means. We have ideas of what it might look like. That's part of imagination. But part of imagination as well is trusting the path along the way. If you want to see a grown man cry, put me in front of the film It's a Wonderful Life. And you'll watch me bawl and bawl and bawl. It's my favorite movie. It's about a man named George Bailey who's faced over and over again with the choice between his hopes and desires and doing the right thing. And what does he choose? Over and over again, he chooses doing the right thing at the expense of what he thinks are his wants and desires. And something challenging happens in his life that breaks him. But it's not the challenging thing, it's the immense frustration of not having his hopes and desires. And on Christmas Eve, he comes home and has a complete psychological meltdown. And it's very subtle, you have to really pay attention to the film, but he has this room that's filled with odes and altars to his hopes and dreams. There's a bridge that he wants to build one day, and right there in front of his wife and kids, he tears it all down. His family can feel his resentment for them. and the life that he has come to live. And he leaves the home with the intention of taking his own life. And he is touched by the grace of God. He is touched by the grace of the divine Imagineer itself. And he is shown what his life would look like if he had never existed. And he returns to his life transformed. What did Douglas Adams say? I may have not gotten where I wanted to go, but I think I've wound up where I needed to be. Imagination is not just our ability to think about what's possible, to form wants and desires. It's our ability to see the magic of our everyday lives, to mine it, to pull it forward, to, again, experience that divine Imagineer in all things. And it is only then that we find the authenticity outside of the artificiality of this thing called life. Richard Bach put it better than I ever could. He said, imagine the universe beautiful and just and perfect. Then be sure of one thing. The is has imagined it quite a bit better than you have. The original sin is to limit the is. Don't. A cloud does not know why it moves in just such a direction and at such a speed. It feels an impulsion. This is the place to go now. But the sky knows the reason and the patterns behind all clouds. And you will know too when you lift yourself high enough to see beyond horizons. You are never given a wish without being given the power to make it true. You may have to work for it, however. Argue for your limitations, and sure enough, they're yours. Artificial intelligence is facts and innuendo. Authentic intelligence is truth and ideas. You don't have to completely understand what the truth is. I think that's what makes it the truth, is that we can never fully understand it. We just have to live at that level of ideas to see what can come forward in our lives. There was a great writer and philosopher. His name was Robert Anton Wilson. And he has this little line, I'm going to paraphrase it, but it's always stuck with me in life. And I think initially he meant it as a joke. He said that we human beings, we live in our myths and we endure our realities. The pessimistic way to say that is we all live in our fantasies while we endure the difficult realities of life. But I think there's another way to take that. That unless we live in our myths, our realities are false and unsatisfactory. That it is our ability to embrace and seek to articulate and describe this mythic reality so that our reality can begin to grow and become something authentic, something meaningful and fulfilling for each and every one of us. Carl Jung, the great Carl Jung, invites us to ask ourselves 3 questions. The first question is, what myth do I live by? What myth do I live by? For most of us, as shared in the announcement video, it didn't really come to us from a religion. It came to us from family or from films or from music or from TV shows. But one of the most important things we can do in life, Jung tells us, is to know what myth am I living by. It says a lot about the kind of truths that show up for you. Question 2, here's one to ask ourselves over and over again. Am I related to something infinite or not? Are you related to something infinite or not? Jung tells us that is the telling question of your life. And sometimes we have to remind ourselves, right? Am I related to something infinite or not? And if so, that means that there is a power for good operating in my life that I can use. And if I open my life to it, it can use me in incredible ways too. Lastly, what is it in my life that gives me a sense of purpose? Jung meant this not in the sense of your grand purpose, but right here and right now. What brings you a sense of resonance? What is the thing that gives you a sense of relevance in your life? What in your life inspires a sense of reverence, a sense of what is sacred and important? Whatever that is, keep doing just that. That is your yellow brick road. That is your life adventure. And as you continue to engage with that thing that gives you purpose, all of the meaning, all of the truth, something artificial intelligence will never be able to give you, begins to grow up, and you become that authentic and not artificial being that you are. Artificial intelligence can give us ceremony, but only authentic intelligence can give us ritual. Artificial intelligence can give you a perfect recipe for making an incredible apple pie, but it will never be able to taste it for you. Artificial intelligence can give you all the tools to have a healthy, functional relationship. It will never be able to describe to you what love is. Artificial intelligence can give you all the information that you need to be who you are, but only you can be and become who that is. Artificial intelligence can give us all of the ceremony, and it does a wonderful job, yet the ritual is something different. The ritual is our act of consciousness that comes with all the ceremonial stuff that we do each and every day. There was an incredible minister in our Centers for Spiritual Living movement named Norm Bouchard, and he was a minister for a time right here at Mile High Church, and the ministerial students loved so much of what he taught, and he had this key teaching that had to do with ceremonies that you do from the platform, and the question was, does it hold the weight of the divine? Right? When we sing Surely the Presence here on Sunday mornings, does it carry and hold the weight of the divine? When we have that 60 seconds of silence before the prayer, does it hold the weight of the divine? And if it doesn't, get rid of it. And I would interpret this to mean is does it hold the sacred? And I think the greatest way, not to counter, but to live in this era of artificial intelligence, is to continually ask yourself the question, does my life hold the sacred? Not just in your ceremonies, but in everything that you do. Does my relationship hold the sacred? Does my outfit hold the sacred? Does my automobile hold the sacred? Does my working life hold the sacred? And if the answer is no, it's totally okay, but what are you willing to do to bring that level of consciousness that inspires and brings forth what is most authentic and real in you? We are who we are, but we are also safe places, sacred spaces. And as we allow ourselves to be a consciousness that doesn't just fill us up within, but is all around us as well, we become able to build a rapport with the infinite. We begin to connect with that divinity that is within all of life, and we indeed weave it consciously into our everyday life and experience. We move beyond the ceremonial and into that ritual that gives us that heart food that we need so that we don't, in this era of artificial intelligence, God bless it, lose our heads. So moving into prayer this morning, I invite any of our incredible prayer practitioners to join me if they choose and just stand. These folks are available for authentic prayer after service. So just being aware of all of the wonder and magic in this world, all of the data and the information. Let us take this time to remember the truth of who we are, to remember authentic life, authentic love, authentic inspiration, to know that what brought us here into this life is not only a biological process, but a spiritual one as well. That we are here on this planet to embody what is most authentic and real. And in that embodiment, all that is artificial, that does not belong with who we are, fades away. It fades away into morning light. And we reveal that incredible truth of who we are. We realize it not just here and now, but we realize it is in everything that was before us, and we glimpse the eternal in everything that is ahead of us, right here in this now moment. Authentic bliss, authentic love, authentic caring, authentic not knowing. Being in this grand mystery called life, we see that yellow brick road, that golden path in front of us. And as we take each step with faith and confidence, we know that each next step is revealed in divine right timing, in divine right flow. We honor all the tools of intelligence that help us on this path, but most importantly, we carry our authentic heart to build a life even beyond the good that we have imagined. We let it be, we let it become, and so it is. Amen.
Thanks for listening to the Mile High Church podcast. This podcast is made possible by the generous contributions from listeners like you. To make a donation, please visit milehighchurch.org.